Hej, mitt namn är Christer. Tillsammans med Anna-Maria så driver jag faciliterings- och samarbetsstudion and Friends. I maj 2025 så fyllde vi 5 år och det firar vi med and Friends Sessions där vi bjuder in 5 kloka, smarta, intressanta kompisar att prata på ämnet förändring. Och en av talarna var vår kompis Tim Leake, en fantastisk facilitator som vi älskar att bolla tankar med kring facilitering. Och på länk ifrån Los Angeles så delade Tim med sig av sina tankar kring varför facilitering är en superpower som behövs för att få förändring att hända. Det här, det är Tims presentation.
Hello to all the friends of And Friends. I so wish that I could be with you all in person because Anna Maria and Krister are just two amazing people and their space looks so amazing. Basically, I'm very jealous of the experience you all are having today, but I will have to settle for only virtually being here. Today I'm going to talk about the change superpower that you didn't know you needed, and spoiler alert, it is unleashing facilitation. We're going to talk a lot more about that, but I want to start simply by introducing myself. My name is Tim Leake. I am the founder and executive facilitator of Lights Lightbulb. That's my own company. I'll talk more about that just in a second. I'm a frequent global speaker. I'm a former chief marketing and innovation officer at one of the largest independent agencies in the United States, a former innovation consultant with Hyper Island, a Swedish organization, and a former creative director in the advertising world. So I've got a kind of a unique background when it comes to change and facilitation and creativity and all that stuff that I merged together. I actually represent 2 companies. One is my own company Let's Lightbulb, where I help leadership teams tackle their most valuable challenges in hours versus months through what I call high ROI facilitation. I specialize in working with leadership teams, and I specialize in helping them move fast. And AJ & Smart, which is a company that many of you may have heard of, based in Berlin. You can find them at facilitator.com, and I believe they are one of the best facilitation training companies in the world, and I help train teams to be world-class facilitators in partnership with them. So very happy to be able to represent both sides of this equation with you all today. Basically, what I do is I help teams make speed an unfair advantage because I believe that today, if you're standing still, you are falling behind. Something I've started talking about a lot lately in regards to facilitation, because I think it's true in this AI-obsessed world that we have, is that AI speeds up tasks, but facilitation helps speed up teams. And this is why it's so valuable when we apply it to change, as well as anything else that we have to do, because change will never be as slow as it is right now. I've been saying for about 15 years, I've been doing a presentation that I call Change Will Never Be This Slow Again. And it used to feel like that was fast, like 12, 15 years ago. And today it feels insanely fast. And AI especially is moving at just a breakneck speed. And it is helping us move faster, except teams continue to collaborate the same way that we always have. And that is not helpful. Facilitation can help solve that, which is something I'm really excited about. Now, a 15-minute pre-recorded talk is not going to help make you a great facilitator, but we have to start someplace. Today, what I want to do is really light the fire under everybody that this is something that it's important and that it's a skill we should all develop, just the same way that we want to get really good at AI and we want to understand technology and we want to understand change. If we can adopt facilitation skills and adopt a facilitation mindset within our teams, I really believe that we can adapt to that change faster. We can make decisions faster. We can do all these things faster. It's so insanely powerful. Can you tell that I'm a big believer in it? Maybe you can. So what is facilitation anyway? Facilitation is the art of helping a group work better together. It's as simple as that. There's a lot that goes into it, but really we are here to be the expert in collaboration, in helping the group work together so that they all can have their superpowers shine through regardless. The word facilitate means to make easy, and we want to make it easier for a group to do great work. Help them do it faster, help them do it smarter, and help them do it more effectively. One of my favorite metaphors and something I use often is this. If I imagine two circles where I've got the participants and the facilitator, right? The participants are like the sun. They have great big rays of genius emanating all sorts of different directions. But when it actually reaches us, it sort of only mildly causes a sunburn, right? Those rays are going all different directions, and so they oftentimes aren't very focused. The facilitator, meanwhile, is the magnifying glass. We help focus all those rays of genius so that we can start a flame of success, a fire of efficiency. I'm not quite sure what the output is, but I think the metaphor works, basically. When we think about this, the participants, we see this all the time with leadership teams, with your teams. I'm sure you see this. Brilliant. So much brilliance. It's just nobody ever really taught us to collaborate together and to do that in an efficient way. So we end up applying the wrong superpowers to it. Another way that I like to talk about the power that a facilitator does, for all my game geeks out there, it's as if when you play the facilitator card, it actually makes every other player's superpowers 10 times stronger. So that's our superpower, is that we make everybody else's superpowers stronger, mainly because they can focus on just doing that and they don't have to worry about the chaos of collaboration. This next thing is something that I shared this on social, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it went crazy there. This simple metaphor that I think what most people think of when they think of facilitation and facilitators is they think of sticky notes. Guilty. I love sticky notes. And they think of workshop exercises. But what they don't realize is that there's so much other stuff below it. This other stuff is really what makes it effective and powerful and amazing. And it takes a long time to build these skills up, but it's something that you just get good at over time. So this is all the stuff that is in there. It's not, if anybody could do it, it wouldn't be challenging or wouldn't be valuable, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. But anybody can do it and simply gain that experience through practice and as with anything that we want to learn, failing, learning from that experience, and then getting better the next time that you do it. The cool thing, and I even have a slide, I'm going to step on my slide later on, is that even when you don't do it really well, even when it's just workshop exercises and sticky notes, I think the process of facilitation is still pretty good. Another thing that I think is really important for anybody who wants to build this skill set is to realize that a facilitator is often a leader who leads other leaders. It is a form of servant leadership, which I'll talk about here in just 2 slides. An important aspect to this is that we want to be the guide, not the hero. It's a common thing. We hear about this. A great example of it is Yoda from Star Wars, that Yoda is the guide and Luke Skywalker is the hero. Yoda knows how to bring out the best out of Luke, and that's what we want to do. We want to be independently objective in this. It's not about our opinions and being the expert about whatever the topic is. We're the expert in helping the group collaborate and bringing out the best out of them. And that's what makes it so powerful, especially when we apply all of this to change, as you'll see in a minute. As I mentioned, servant leadership, I think, is a really servant leadership and facilitation go hand in hand. I'm not sure how familiar all of you are with the concept of servant leadership, but this is a great book if anybody wants to check it out. It is a discipline that a lot of companies use. In my last agency, we practiced it. It very much is about it's about putting the needs of your people above the needs of your own. It's not their wants, but their needs, and helping them be brilliant. And when we do that, then we as leaders look brilliant. And that is very much what we want to do as facilitators as well. We have to protect them from themselves in many ways, because teams, for whatever reason, we have accidentally trained them to overthink things. And we don't want to overthink things. We don't want to underthink things either. We want to optimally think things. And this is what facilitation can help do. Optimally think through a problem. So we give it its due conversation, its due thought process. We don't rush that, but we also don't spend months on it either, overthinking it and going back to the drawing board and just going in circles and circles and circles. And if you've worked in a bigger company with teams, I bet that's what happens most of the time. Most of the reason that we move slowly is because we're overthinking it. And in fact, I talk about helping teams move fast. A better way of saying it, because I don't actually believe in rushing. I believe in slowing down in order to go fast. That's the approach that I use as a facilitator. But the truth is, we're not really getting teams to go fast per se. We're getting them to go not slow. And the problem is most teams go slow. So how do we just go not slow? Because if we go not slow, it feels like we're moving fast. And as I alluded to just a second ago, facilitation, it's kind of like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's pretty good. So I would encourage you just to try digging into this a little bit and experimenting, because that's how it works. And even if it's bad, I think the teams will appreciate it, and you'll get more out of them, and you as the facilitator or whoever is doing it will gradually get better and better and better. So that's my little preamble about facilitation. I say preamble. I'm 2/3 of the way through the presentation, but let's talk about change, because that's what the day is all about. And specifically, we want to think about what makes change hard. And there's a lot that makes change hard, right? All the stuff on the screen. It is a fear of the unknown, a loss of control. We've got habits that are really hard to break, lack of a shared vision. There's a lot of emotional baggage in this. There's too much. It's like a fire hose of change coming at us. Leadership inconsistency, right? Leaders don't always feel aligned themselves, and then they certainly don't communicate it clearly. There's often a lack of clarity. There's no best practices because this is new. People don't like change, or they don't trust the new thing that's coming along. That happens a lot with AI, by the way. There's a lack of psychological safety, like we have to put ourselves out there. There's a bias towards the status quo and past successes that we've had. There's siloed thinking. Different groups think we should accomplish this differently. A fear of looking incompetent, and of course, change fatigue. All of this stuff. And I could have made this slide 10 times bigger with even tinier type on it, because there's so much. But here's the cool thing. Facilitation, it helps teams solve all of this. It is what facilitation does, helps teams align, discuss, get to clarity, make decisions, figure out what needs to be done, feel psychologically safe. Everything in here is solved by facilitation when we just take the group through this process. It's not a short process. It's not something you can do in just half an hour. When I say that we solve the process fast, it often takes half a day, maybe even a few days of working with the team to go through this. But how long would it take otherwise? Months, literally months, to be able to go through the same process if we didn't have this. It would probably shake out. Teams usually get there eventually. They have the power. Facilitation just helps it happen a lot faster. Ultimately, the way that I like to talk about all this stuff that is on the screen is that teams don't resist change. What they resist is confusion. And most of the time, what change brings is confusion. We don't know what to do with this. It's new, it's different, and I'm unclear how I'm supposed to do it. I'm unclear how we're supposed to collaborate. I'm unclear about all this stuff. And facilitation comes in and helps smooth that process. And I think there are probably lots of reasons it works, but 3 main reasons that this works is that when you facilitate a group properly, people feel heard. And this is important, by the way. I worked with clients, and I'm sure all of you have had this with clients in the past, that they would say things, and it was really important. We may have agreed with it, we may have disagreed with it, but what was important really wasn't whether we did what they said. It was that they felt listened to. So sometimes they would share whatever they thought was important to share, and we would be like, that's a good thing. Let us go back and think about that. We had already thought about it. We already knew how we felt about it. But if we just said it then, they would feel like we weren't being honest, or we weren't listening to them. It would be like, we're just like, oh, yeah. And we were dismissive of their thoughts. But when we just tabled it and we went back to them the next day and said, hey, thank you for that thought, we gave it some consideration and we believe either we agree with you or we felt like maybe the right approach is this for these reasons. They felt listened to. They felt heard. People want to feel heard. Additionally, people want to feel part of the solution. If it gets brought down from on high and says, this is what we're doing from now on, friction occurs. People react to that. They didn't feel like they were consulted. And we want people to feel part of that change solution. And finally, people can then customize that solution to themselves. The best way to make change stick isn't to tell them how to do it, but to give people the tools so that they can figure out the right way to apply it to themselves. And as I said, I'm not going to be able to actually teach people facilitation in this short 15-minute talk, but there are lots of ways that you can get started with this. Google it, YouTube it, ChatGPT it. Find trainings on there. AJ and Smart, who I mentioned earlier, that I work fractionally with, we have a huge library of training resources out there. I do trainings with other people. Feel free to reach out to me. There's a million resources out there. Start applying it yourself. Be bad at it at first and then gradually get good at it. It's really as simple as that. I think it's one of those things that when you do this, you will see change get so much easier within the group because the process of facilitation helps unlock that and unlocks it fast. So thank you for all the time today. If there's anything I can do to help your team move faster, do better work, or have more fun, if that sounds like a good idea, please reach out to me. I share a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with any of you, even though I can't see you right now. Thanks again to And Friends for having me, and have an awesome rest of the day. And whatever it is you're doing, I'm jealous that I'm not there. Bye.